Hi, this is Thomas and Dolly from Mars Moon Space TV. We are back and we are looking at pictures from Mars, and today we are looking at an image from the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter from its high-rise, high-resolution camera. This image is taken from 290 kilometers away, and I think you all will be amazed when we are gonna show you how clear and how much we actually can zoom in on this image of this area on Mars. Dolly?
Yeah, this captured my attention, this one, because as you know, I look at Earth anomalies as well. So I go in the desert and I look at ancient structures all over the planet. And last week we posted a video. I made a video on Petra. I'll put the link down below and you can go in and look at that. And I put together the correlation with the Martian planet, the red surface, the similarities with the rocks, the structure. But then I looked at this picture this week, and to be honest, I thought that we had a black and white, that we were looking at a map of the Earth somewhere, that we were perhaps in Antarctica or somewhere far away, perhaps Devon Island maybe, you never know. But why did it capture my imagination? Because look at all these lines, and all these lines seem to connect. It almost looks as though it's an old canal system or roadway.
Water irrigation system.
Dare I say, road system. But this is what has done it for me. Zoom in and we see, does that not look like an island that's connecting pathways? It does to me. We are not looking at Earth here. We are looking at Mars. And that's what astounded me.
It's amazing, because what are we looking at? Is it a connection point between 6 other?
Well, yeah, I thought that. So yeah. I did a little search. We did a little search.
We did,
together.
yeah.
And we were looking all over this, trying to look at where these pathways would lead to, because something has to go somewhere, right? And what I noticed on my little travel was this here. Now, don't get me wrong, but this seems to be a big mapped out area. But when we go in, what am I looking at? Because I look at ancient structures on Earth.
That is the big question. What are we looking at? I think everybody sees something different, but I see what I would describe as an ancient site. What do you think?
An ancient site. As I said, I look at all these ancient sites, and we have talk of the Anunnaki being present there once on Mars, and that Mars was used by the Igigi. Marduk was the commanding chief officer there, and there was a weighing station there. Many weigh stations across Mars. So there was technologically advanced civilizations that built giant constructions to distribute and sort through and mine Mars as well. Mars has been mined.
Mars has been mined and
many times for resources.
And I think that Mars has been used as a logistics center to distribute some of all the minerals, gold, what they carved, what they did, what they brought back.
But there was talk of water once running on Mars and it being very Earth-like in atmosphere and to live on. And what's to say that the chances are that water could have flowed through, dare I say, irrigation systems and remains
Canals.
of ruins and canals. Because this is not just bedrock. We can zoom in. This is really high quality resolution. And when we zoom in, for instance,
we can see so many different shapes of rock, but what astonishing me is if you go around on the image, there is an area a little bit further away from where we are now. We're going to show you in a little bit, where everything is like carved in square blocks. If we look at where the arrow is in the middle, does it look like we can see some construction along those canals?
Do these look like posts standing upright? Does this look like it's going across, like a bridge maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
Across something?
One thing I've noticed with all these pathway or canals is that they go right through all the rocks, and there's never hardly any rocks. If you look at where they're going through, the pathways are cleared of rocks, and we see how many thousands of rocks that are here. So how can that be?
But the reason I put together this with Jordan and places in Jordan and all over the world, actually, not just Jordan and Mesopotamia, I've used that as an example because when we go into and look at the aerial view pictures of Earth, and we are now looking
on Google Earth. And we are in Petra, in Jordan.
And what do I see here? I see the similarities. Now, if we hadn't got all these little map markers that you can see jotted on the screen, I would say that I would say, am I looking at a gigapan from Mars?
And I would say I see nothing but rocks.
You would say you see nothing but rocks. But let me show you just an example. Random. That is a lump of ancient rock on top that has been weathered naturally, but underneath. Now, an aerial view suggests that you would not know that any of this exists.
Or would be underneath what you are looking at.
And I wanted to know about structures carved into rocks, and was trying to put the similarities and just correlating certain facts and myths and legends and the talk of the Anunnaki and ancient civilizations and the Martian surface. And I have to say that this is one of the best examples to myself that with the geological structure and shapes that we look at on Mars and the Earth and similarities, there's a huge connection
there
with ancient civilizations and the technology and the ancient and advanced systems and roadways and pathways and irrigation systems and techniques of building and materials, techniques, because we're talking about the same similar materials and structures that is on Mars. And when I think about extraterrestrial life visiting other planets, or even human life visiting somewhere on Earth, you make the best out of your environment.
You do.
And your situation. And on a survival skill point of view thinking,
I would use a rock.
I would use rocks. If I had technology, laser weapons or high advanced technology that could melt through rocks like butter, what perfect place to build your abode? In the rock.
Exactly.
Stick to what you know.
So one of the big questions we can ask today is, what are we seeing on Mars? Now you're seeing what it is. Looks like on Earth, on picture, Petra in Jordan. So if we go back to, shall we go back to the plains, the fields?
We'll go back to the fields
Jetton.
of Mars.
Yeah.
So now, we're back to those fields, and that's trippy for me, because this is Mars.
This is Mars. And I would like to show you something that looks so similar to what we were looking at from the Google Earth, from Petra. And we saw the mountain from above. This is in a bigger scale than what we just saw on Petra, but this is basically what we saw the mountain in Petra look like.
And looking at Petra, you would not think there is anything there.
Nope.
Just like Mars. You would think that there is not anything there.
Absolutely. So, are we looking?
Well, this one has amazed me, because still now looking at it, it looks like a huge ancient city, guys. I can't help it.
Infrastructures and
like a metropolis. Is that the word? That's the word for it. With highly advanced, skilled thought. And if it was rocks or just the plateau, why would they make these angles to bend and shape and cut out and cross over?
Yeah.
I think the island one, the one where it joins, that looks like a spider, it looks like an island no matter where you go across the world, whether you be in England, from New York to Amsterdam to Africa. We all have islands, yeah?
And one of the things that did it for me to say this is not natural is, if we look up, if we zoom a little bit out, not too much, but just like this, have a look here. This pathway goes right through all the rocks, and I said it before, you don't see any rocks on the pathways. They are cleared.
If we look at those two there, those actually do look like tunnels or underground systems. When I look at places, take Area 51 and places like that, for example, or in Egypt, or anywhere where they are putting underground bunkers or underground entrances, you have this raised area. It's fascinating. It really is
so
stunning.
Fascinating. And we've been spending hours on this Gigapan now. We've been looking at rocks. We've been looking at what could be possibly ruins. Just have a look at this down here. What are we looking at? And if we look at some of the rocks on the ground that is carved, you can clearly see that it's so artificial. It looks artificial. Look at the angles it's cut out in, and it doesn't look natural to me.
If we go back to the ruin, let's find the ruin.
Let's find the ruin. We are down here, and the ruin
there
will be right
is.
here, and let's put it in
and
the middle.
now we can see why. See, when I look at that, I automatically think the pyramids, how they went up in layers, and I can see some kind of layering.
Yeah.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 layers, and then we have a peak to the middle and a peak to the middle. And these, are they upright posts? Are they holes?
We don't know what it is, but we would love to hear your opinion on it. What you guys out there think we could be looking at?
Yeah. I'd like to get the public to really get in on this one, because dare I say that this is a pyramid, a pyramid shape that's eroded and corroded. Because Marduk, I'm saying that because Marduk was the Egyptian known as Ra, and he was apparently the one that was the commander of the Igigi that were on Mars, that had a way station. And if these guys were royalty and they were huge as well, giants. The Anunnaki were giants, a lot bigger than human 12 to 16 feet tall, some of them. Giants. They would have had giant constructions, but royalty would have had palaces and an abode, dare I say? He would have had an abode there.
There is something that caught my attention in this area up here. And as an anomaly hunter on Mars Moon Space TV, and also an united family of anomaly hunters, we have been looking at lots of pictures like this, but this one is so interesting because look at this square shape. You can actually see something that looks like a wall. You can see that line going in the middle here, and if you follow the arrow around here, you can see what looks like the remains of a still standing wall, even casting a shadow to its right. So guys, what are we looking at? This is the closest we can zoom in on this Gigapan by Keith Laney. Are we looking at an ancient ruin next to a giant step pyramid, thousands of years old? We don't know. What do you guys think we could be looking at here? We would love to hear your opinion on it. So please leave a comment in the comment box on YouTube or on Facebook. Are we looking at
Are we looking at ancient civilization, as they said, and as the myths have talked about, and the ancient stories of the gods? And Mars has been a huge connection with humanity and the Earth, and man has been fascinated with going back to Mars. I almost feel as though this is some kind of ancient structure. Remains of an ancient structure in the middle of a huge metropolis of irrigation systems that are artificial. But that's just me, guys.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. And just
we can speculate.
Look at these angles here. It is amazing, guys. We will leave a link to the Gigapan in the video description here.
But check it out. Check out the Earth and check out Mars and check out ancient structures that are littered all over the desert.
And check out our last video, Petra versus Mars, on our YouTube channel. You have to see it. This has been quite a good ride.
It has, and I think we'll have more back from this one.
I think we will be coming back to this one again.
And I know we're going to get huge comments that are just going to be saying, oh, you're looking at just rocks. And
you know what, guys?
We are looking at just rocks.
Yeah, but those rocks tells us a history.
But we are looking at just rocks as well on the Earth. And that tells us a history.
It does.
One that is much older than we first imagined.
Or what we've been taught so far. Guys out there, thank you for watching. And until we see us again, take care. Bye.